What's going on, y'all? This is Richie coming at you with another episode of The Bridge. Let's talk about this story called the Parable of the Talents. Now, in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14, Jesus tells a story that's called the Parable of the Talents. And basically, the story goes like this. There was a rich man who was about to go on a trip for a really long time. But before he went on this trip, he called over his 3 servants. And he told one servant, I'm going to give you 5 talents. He told the other servant, I'm going to give you 2 talents. He told the other servant, I'm going to give you 1 talent. So I want y'all to manage these talents. And when I get back from my trip, I want y'all to present to me what y'all did with the talents. So the man goes away on a long trip and he comes back. Now, when he comes back from his trip, he goes to the servant that has 5 talents and he says, what did you do with the talents that I gave you, that I left you? And the servant says, I turned your 5 talents into 10 talents. I took the talents that you gave me and I went out into the marketplace and I traded my talents and I turned them into 10. The servant, the master looked at the servant and said, good job. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Come on and enter the joy of your master. So the second servant, the master goes to it and he says, I gave you 2 talents. What did you do with the 2 talents that I gave you? And the servant said, I turned your 2 talents into 4 talents. I went out to the marketplace, traded, came back, and I'm bringing you back double what you gave me. So the master said, great job. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Come enter into the joy with your master. But the third servant, he went to him and he said, all right, I gave you 1 talent. Show me what you did with it. And that one servant said, well, I knew that you were a hard man and I didn't really want to run the risk of losing your talent. So what I did was I took the talent that you gave me, I buried it in the ground, and then when you got back, my whole plan was to give you the talent that you gave me. So I didn't bring you back double. I'm just bringing you back the talent that you gave me because I didn't want to run the risk of losing your talent and coming back at you and not presenting anything. So I decided it's better to present you with 1 talent than to come back empty-handed. So the master looked at the third servant and said, you wicked, lazy servant. How could you not invest my talent? The master looked at the servant and said, if you thought that I was a hard man, that should have motivated you to go out into the marketplace and just hustle that much harder. You should have took my talent that I gave you, managed it. You could have put it in the bank. You would have made interest and you would have had something to basically present to me and you would have had double what I gave you. But now you're coming back empty-handed. You're a wicked and lazy servant and basically I cast you out into the outer darkness and you can go out there where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, what's the moral of that story? Obviously, it's a symbolic story because here's what the talents represent. Those talents that he gave them, the servants, those talents represent natural abilities, natural God-given abilities, natural talents. God has given you a natural talent, a natural ability. Now, whatever talent God has given you, whatever your natural ability is, that's an investment that God made in you when he created you. Now, when Jesus comes back or on the day of judgment, God is going to want a return on his investment. So basically, that's what the whole Judgment Day thing is about. It's about God coming back, and God the Father is going to judge the world. But God the Son, Jesus, he's coming back, and he expects to see a return on the investment. So, for example, let's say God gave you the natural talent to sing, right? So if God gave you the natural talent to sing and you take that natural talent and you go out into the world and you become rich and famous, you sell millions of records, you get all these kind of awards, you just make millions of dollars, you become rich and famous, right? At the end of the day, when Jesus comes back and he says, okay, I gave you the gift to sing, now tell me, what do you have for me? Where's the return on my investment? If you say to Jesus, well, here's what I did with your talent. I went out, I sold records, I made millions of dollars, I became, rich and famous. I won Grammy Awards, Stellar Awards, whatever. If you say that to Jesus, that's what I did with your talent, Jesus is probably going to look at you and say, depart from me, I never knew you. In other words, he's going to cast you into hell. But if Jesus comes back and says, I gave you the gift to sing, what did you do with my talent? And you say to God, well, Jesus, this is what I did with your talent. I created a platform for myself to sing. And as a result of that, people came up to me and people wanted to know, how I got to be able to sing so good. And I was able to use my platform that my singing created for myself. And I was able to share my Christian faith with basically other people in the world. I was able to evangelize. I was able to present the gospel to people. And as a result of me presenting the gospel to them, this person got saved, and that person got saved, and this person over here got saved. So basically, here's the return on your investment is the people that I was able to bring to Christ. I was able to impact the kingdom of God with the talent that you gave me. And that is the point. That's what Christ is looking for when he says, I want a return on my investment. The return is the impact that you have on the kingdom of God. That's the return. And the only way you have an impact on the kingdom of God is if you add to the kingdom of God by evangelizing and bringing souls to Christ. So, another example. Let's say you're a construction worker, right? You work with your hands. And God has given you a natural talent to just, you're good with building things and hooking things up and fixing things. So when God comes back, he's going to say, okay, I gave you the ability to work with your hands. Show me what you did. And if you say to God, well, I was able to get my own contract company in. I was able to work on stadiums and I built stadiums and I made lots of money and I was able to, live in a house on the hill and I was able to create this great life for me that your talent allowed me to do, and that's what I did with my talent. Well, if you say that to Christ, he's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. But if the construction worker says this, I was able to use my natural gift of building things, and I was able to amaze people with the excellent work that I did. And when they started talking to me, it created me an opportunity to basically evangelize to people. That's what it did. I evangelized to people. I was able to basically share the gospel, share the hope that lies within me. And after I did that, people came to Christ. So your investment, the natural gift that I have of working with my hands, I was able to create opportunities to witness to Christ, and people came and they gave their life to Christ. That person got saved and that person got saved. So that's the impact that my talent had on the kingdom of God. So the return is basically the level at which you impact the kingdom of God. So basically, that's what I realized that Matthew 25:14 is talking about. It's talking about what are you doing with your talent to impact the kingdom of God. You might be using your natural talents to make a lot of money and go out in the world and create a good life for yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But only what you do for Christ will last. So basically, you're going to have to ask God, what are my talents and how can I impact the kingdom of God? Because if you go your entire life and you don't impact the kingdom of God any kind of way, you're like the servant who basically hid his talent in the ground. And according to Matthew 25, the master was very upset with that servant. So don't be like that servant who put his talent in the ground, but be like the other two servants, the ones who used their talent, they doubled it, and they were able to come back and bring a return to their master. So that's it for the day, y'all. I appreciate y'all joining me. Please smash that like button, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.